Steve? Hold on. It shows a mute.
Yeah, I just unmuted. Are you there?
Yeah.
Cool.
I obviously don't have a webcam upstairs, but I'm going to change that. So, and I sent the invite to Glenn. Apparently, he didn't accept.
That's not good.
Yeah. I actually kind of like this. We can add more people.
Yeah, we can add people as they come in. Try Glenn again. What? Hello?
Hi.
Hi. For some reason it kept muting me. I had to unmute again.
Who knows? This is going to be recorded, and I'll just strip out the video.
Cool.
Hold on. I got it. Okay. Let's see. How can I add more people?
It's bizarre. Oh, that's right. You don't have a webcam.
I do on the other computer. I do on the laptop.
All right.
Invite.
Cool.
Have to accept the invite. How did you get it? Did it just pop up on your screen?
It just popped up, and it showed both of you, and I accepted it. So I'm not sure how that worked.
Were you on the Google Plus site?
I was. I went over there, and I got the. Now I'm on the Hangout side. What? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I plugged in. It's showing me muted, but it's not muted because I have the headset on. I presume if I unplugged and I took the headset on it, but anyway, I'm going to do it like this since the video's not there. Hang on one second. While you're doing this, I'm going to come back. Yes, Glenn, you need to accept.
You need to accept Google Plus as your Lord and Master.
All right, hopefully. And there's the Google Plus, and now I'm back.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Is that the camera? No, I'm not turning the camera off. Settings. Okay.
I can see your computer. I can see me in the reflection on your glasses. That's funny.
Oh, that's really weird. And I'm right down in the corner there.
Yep.
With my beer.
Cool.
Jeez,
I started it. I have the control room functions.
Oh, I'll remember that next week. No. I'll leave on the headset and look like somebody in World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I keep getting invites from what's her name, from Liz, to do stuff for her stuff, and I'm like, I've got to work on Thursdays.
I know.
I've got school. I mean, but yeah, chat.
Yeah.
Still no Glenn. No Glenn.
I'm not seeing any Glenn.
Esau London's now working for Stand On Children.
Yes. Oh, Greg says, "Are you there?" I'm seeing you in the bottom, sir.
No, I always thought he was a bottom.
Well,
there you are.
Are you muted, Glenn? I can see you now. I
don't know if
can't
it's a good idea.
you.
We can we can see each other's because yeah. Glenn, say something. Yeah, you're not coming through.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I see you, but I don't hear you.
There you. Talk.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Nod or shake your head. Can you hear us? Nod.
Can you hear us at all? Okay, you can hear us, but we can't hear you then. Okay.
You don't know who this is, but I know where you live.
Near, 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 near. Okay, I think he's getting up.
I can see, Steve.
Good. I'm going to. There we go.
I should just leave this. I should just not even hardly cut this and put it out.
That would be fun. And now I think he's trying something else.
What was your first clue? The fact that he's coming back with something different?
Yeah. Does your computer have a built-in microphone, Glenn? If it does,
Apparently not a very good one.
no. The camera's working just fine.
And you're sexy. And apparently the speakers are working well.
Luke, I am your father. You're showing muted, Glenn. Now you're showing unmuted. Can you still hear us? Yes. We still can't hear you, though. John, are you there?
Oh, I'm here.
Good. Okay. That's bizarre because when I look, it's like these circles come out from around that bizarre face. Oh, man.
Yeah. I need to change that because I'm cross-eyed as fuck in that picture. I should do the picture of me with my lip out that I posted earlier this week.
There you go.
I did not. That picture just screamed to me, "Oh my God, I look just like Jack."
Oh.
As soon as I did that. Jonathan Dwyer was helping my fantasy team because he's been deactivated.
No.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, whatever. Alrighty then. Okay. Alright, I see you have headsets on. Can you hear us, Glenn? And I can't hear you at all.
Same.
You know, you might want to check your settings on your computer for I don't know if that would be input or I guess it would be
Hey,
input.
Glenn, let me call you on Skype real quick and see if you can try and answer that, okay?
And I'll
We'll see if
stay
that
right
one.
here.
Yeah. Oh, if you were signed into Skype, I could.
Do we need to sign into Skype?
I want Glenn to temporarily. I want to try. I'm just trying to make sure where the issue is. So.
Okay. I'll sit here. Glenn, sign into Skype.
I was calling. How do I sound? Does my voice sound okay?
Yeah, it's right on target. Mine sound all right?
Oh yeah, you sound perfect.
Okay. Well, why not?
I'm trying to call you on the Skype there. Are you getting a call?
I'm not.
I know you're not, Steve. I'm talking to Glenn. I think we lost him.
He seems frozen over here.
There they go. Is he back? He's frozen. So let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go.
I think he
Whisper
dropped
words of
off.
wisdom, let it
He,
go.
he dropped off the hangout, I think.
I
Yes, yes, he
think
did.
he's probably power cycling his computer. Uh, you might have got arrested in the last couple hours.
What? Well, then they're just not trying hard enough.
Uh,
So we are going to talk about the CFL, correct? Oh, wait.
I don't even have anything. So.
Okay. This is, well, then, what is this? Start a video hangout? All right, John.
No. What are you
I
doing?
have a SportsNoise 106, a new one. Should I switch to that or what?
No, that's what this is.
Okay.
I just. Let me find somebody. Do, 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 do. Not sure. Um, dun, 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 dun. Resend the event. Glenn.
Rebooted, Glenn says.
Invite.
So let us hope. Should you recall him or?
There. I want to re-invite Glenn.
When we finally get going, I think this should be titled, okay,
Turn down for what?
Gay Communists on Ice, an SEC football review. No, wait.
Enough about the Big Ten.
Have you seen the video of the fainting goat play? That
Yes,
was
everyone
fucking
has, because
hilarious.
everyone ran it like 2 days ago.
I saw it too. Steph posted it on my timeline. I thought it was hilarious. I enjoyed it.
Pardon me.
Okay. Reinvited. Okay. No. Doody 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 doo. Control
Oh my
room.
God. Oh, this is funny.
What?
I'm streaming. I'm watching it on YouTube and watching it here.
Oh, and I'm the. Okay, you're streaming, and right now I'm the only one on camera. Oh, that's
Oh, wow, let
good.
me switch over to me. Maybe it'll have my picture up. Let's see. Hold hold on. Let me see. Where's the chat button? There it is. There it is.
Hello, everyone.
There we go.
What are you wearing out there? Okay, chat, new message.
Yeah, it's got, yeah, that's the chat.
Okay, it's coming up. That's great. I'm seeing my. Oh, and I can click here to join the audience. Okay, that's just too fucking weird.
Oh,
Apparently, it was
yeah.
on a delay. Wow. If I click this button to join the audience for the Hangout on air, that could get really, really strange.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
The hell, Glenn? Come on.
Glenn, where are you?
Testing, 1, 2, test, hello.
Woohoo!
Looks like it worked.
All right, I'm going to click off the YouTube because
Yeah.
that was just way too fucking weird.
Oh, come on. You gotta love going, gotta go partially meta.
How do you turn
Wow.
the video off?
Just click
Well,
your above your face or above one of our faces there. If you just scroll right up at the very top, right before it has the URL, there should be a thing for you to mute the camera or the
oh, look,
picture.
an image of me and the missus from 3 years ago pops up.
There we go. There, it's a picture from my wedding.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
You look so respectable. God help us. All right.
All right, we'll call it. We got to figure out what minute we're at. I think we've been recording for about 15 minutes, maybe 20. Who knows? I'll figure it out. All right, so we're going to call this, I guess, episode 106, Turned Down for What?
Oh.
How about when you scare Anheuser-Busch, the NFL is scared.
Yes.
Or piss off Anheuser-Busch and you have issues.
I've got it.
Or
When
don't piss off the piss flavored beer company.
There you go. We went.
When you piss off Bud, you pissed them all off.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hi, you're listening to episode 106. This is the second time we've actually recorded this, but it's actually episode 106. Turned down for what? Or don't piss off the piss flavored beer edition.
There you go.
Yeah, as we said, this is the second time we recorded this. We actually did record it 2 weeks ago, but we're having recording issues, so we're actually going live with a new version of the SportsNoise podcast. We will be hosting it on Google Hangouts. If you want to be a part of the conversation, and who doesn't want to join the conversation, just let us know, and we'll throw you in as an invite. As always, I am your host, John Carroll, and I am joined by the pretty one co-host, Mr. Steve Steffens.
Why? How good of you to notice.
And the intellectual savior to the masses, Mr. Glenn Ring.
Howdy, howdy, folks.
Yeah, says, when we last did this 2 weeks ago, we were looking forward to the NFL season. We were overreacting a little to the college season, and what the hell happened?
Well, you had a whole bunch of pending issues, and including Ray Rice, but it was just a story. But then a video came out with Ray Rice hitting his fiance in the face and her hitting the pole of the inside, and then Ray Rice picking up her like a sack of potatoes and dragging her out of the elevator. The video changed everything about all the other pending cases.
Yeah, I guess that lends new meaning to the term bad optics, huh? God.
Well, and then if that's not bad enough, it turns to find out that the NFL indeed had seen the said video of Ray Rice hitting his fiancée in the face, and just made them look.
They received it.
Yes.
Yep. And to be perfectly honest, as Grantland said before the discovery of the second tape, just what the hell does Roger Goodell have to do to get fired anyway? At some point, and that point is coming very quickly, it doesn't matter how much money he's making, because when you start pissing off your major sponsors, like Anheuser-Busch, the 800-ton Godzilla of sports advertisers, you've done something really, really wrong. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I believe they're the number 2 behind the U.S. military as far as sponsorship on sports.
No, that's true, because the U.S. Army is trying to reach the same audience, drunken-ass 20 to 35 males.
But nonetheless, it is still spending billions and billions of dollars on sponsorships in sports and direct advertising.
And when they fart, it sounds like a nuclear explosion because of the impact that they have on all sports, but particularly the NFL. The handling of first Ray Rice, then the Adrian Peterson situation, and then, well, of course, we don't know how they're going to handle Jonathan Dwyer, who was was he arrested or was he charged this afternoon? What's the story?
Charged today, I think. I'm looking at it. He was arrested Wednesday on allegations of aggravated assault.
Undoubtedly.
Booked into Maricopa County Jail.
Wow.
Our fan, one of our favorite individuals, Steve, at Maricopa.
Oh, he's in Joe Arpaio's jail.
Yeah.
God. Well, at least we figure as a big, strong football player, I don't think he'll be anybody's bitch, but you never know.
Well, and for years, you know, I guess it's kind of the boys will be boys. The NFL has kind of turned a blind eye to domestic violence, and they cannot do that anymore.
No, no. But it's clear that that's exactly what they've done, Glenn. You're absolutely right. And it just gets to a point where the ills of society, you can't really go. You just can't go to sports to get away from the ills of society because guess what? It's made up of human beings. And lo and behold, if you've got human beings, there's going to be violence, sadly. And when you put giant football players who only play well when they're in a state of near rage, this is going to happen. It probably has happened for far longer than we realize. But, I just, what the NFL does about this is going to be the thing that I'm interested to see. I just clicked up a link to a great article by Louisa Thomas in this afternoon's Grantland about just how it all ties together, and I urge everyone to read it.
Well, I guess the only thing I would say, if nothing else, to be devil's advocate, what is a professional sports league? What is their responsibility when you're talking about something that's completely off the field?
Well, everything has morals clauses.
They do. But, while I'm sure there are a lot of people who are snickering and hee-hawing about the never heard of before but suddenly arriving exempt commissioners list, what it amounts to, ladies and gentlemen, is paid administrative leave. And actually, before it may be the one thing that Goodell has done right, because basically when something like this pops up, you put the player on administrative leave or exempt commissioners list. He goes off and deals with the problem in the legal system. Then if it turns out there's a conviction, then you can take action on a full-time basis. That way, in the event that the player is acquitted, then they can come right back as if nothing had ever happened. Maybe you make them go through a refresher course. And this isn't to diminish what happened. This is just a way to make sure due process occurs. What do y'all think?
Well, I guess it's one of those cases, especially with domestic violence. It's just something that the league. I mean, when you violate the drug policy, that's pretty cut and dried. But when you start getting into things like domestic violence, they just don't know what to do.
That's true.
Because it's a completely different kind of crime.
Yeah.
Whereas failing a drug test is kind of pretty much, you did what we told you not to do, we're going to suspend you for how many games and fine you.
Yeah, and with the whole, people are crying out saying, "Oh, you're pussifying the NFL. You're making it wimpy. You're making it weak." And I'm like, no, they're actually being smart, and because they know that they've got to continue to grow, and you can't grow with the way they are. And yeah, you're going to lose some of the traditionalists, but I'm sorry, fuck the traditionalists. This is not 30 years ago, 40 years ago. People have changed.
Well, and the thing of it is, guys, these guys are taught to pretty much, in order to keep their jobs, like I said, be in a state of near rage at all times when they're practicing and when they're playing, and yet they're supposed to just turn it off, and they're not supposed to use weed to calm down, which seems to be the best thing for them, because it's illegal with the exception of a few states.
Well,
So
they use
what
it
is
for.
what is
They don't
what's
use it to calm down, Steve. They use it for a pain and muscle relaxer.
well that too. I mean, to be perfectly honest, that's it. You know, what is a football player supposed to do?
Well, and plus, in many cases, these guys have been told that they're special and the rules don't apply to them since junior high school.
Correct.
So you have definitely, with the upper tier athletes, you definitely have a sense of entitlement.
Mm. No, I agree. Especially in football. Excuse me. You start playing when you're in fourth grade, and if you're really good at it, you go all through middle and high school and then college, and then if you're that good and you make the NFL, you've been pretty much, other than when you're yelled at and called a rat bastard in practice, you've been coddled pretty much for most of your life up to that point.
Yeah, but think about. I mean, there's a couple articles about how the Adrian Peterson thing. I'll be honest, it disturbed me, but it wasn't because he told him to do this switch and beat him at 4. It was because of how bad he did it. I
Yeah.
know. I mean, that's probably a little wrong of me, but that's just how I see it.
There's a difference between a swat on the ass with your hand and a light one, and beating somebody with a switch. Yeah, I don't care if your mama told you to go out, pick the switch, and go get your ass, go get it for him because she's gonna beat your ass. You know, I understand. That's 1940s mentality. Guess what, people? It's 2014, and that shit doesn't work. It leaves scars not only physically but mentally and emotionally. And no, that shit's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it seems like that pop. I think we were heading to the same place. I was going to say fundamentalist Christians that get all tied in knots when they're told they can't beat their children because it's in the Bible and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're chattel and property and her harumph. No, I mean this. As we supposedly evolve as human beings, we're finding out more and more about how those things injure people, not just physically but emotionally. And I don't care if your mammy did it and your grandpappy did it. I don't care. That shit doesn't matter. They're dead and gone, and this is here and now. The simple fact of the matter is, even if you're not bright enough to know that it injured you, it did injure you. And wanting to do it because it happened to you, it makes it even worse. It's almost like continuing a tradition of hazing. It is abuse, and it should be considered nothing else.
Mm-hmm. But let's move on from this unfortunate topic to something even more fun. What about this season so far? Is Carolina this good? I don't think so.
My theory so far is it's hard to tell who the good teams are. I think the one thing we can kind of tell is who some of the bad teams are going to be.
Yeah.
Like I think we have determined that the New York Football Giants are going to be terrible this year.
Yes. Yes. They're going to suck more than an Electrolux. And Eli Manning is going to be lucky if he's still upright by week 10.
I think it's going to be another long year in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Same thing for Minnesota.
Minnesota, Oaktown. I mean, I think it's still going to be. I think because the Saints are 0-2, but they've lost 2 road games in a close fashion. So I mean, what is that?
How badly are they going to blow up the Vikings this week?
Ooh. Well, I mean, the thing of it is, I'd like to see Teddy Bridgewater play, but you don't want to put him out there where he's going to get mauled, and that's exactly what's going to happen if you put him out there now. I'd much rather see Matt Castle get beaten up repeatedly.
Well,
You know, he's nearing the end of his career. Let's save Bridgewater for a little bit later.
yeah, with him, I mean, they don't exactly face a murderer's row of defenses in their next 6 games. Home for Atlanta, at Green Bay, home for Detroit, at Buffalo, at Tampa Bay, at Washington, home for Washington. Bye in Week 10. So they don't exactly face a murderer's row of defenses coming up. Maybe, I'm going to say this, I will bet he starts Week 6 because Week 5 is a Thursday night game at Green Bay. Then come back on October 12th at home for Detroit. That right there, I bet you, is Teddy Bridgewater's first game. Unless for some reason Castle just is, well, he's going to be completely awful this week. But Atlanta's not a tough defense. So I will say Atlanta or Detroit will be his first game.
Yeah.
To start.
Meanwhile, we're not talking about the true surprise team of them all. You're undefeated in first place, Buffalo Bills.
Nobody circles the wagons. No, I can't even finish that
I
statement.
know.
You just stabbed me in the fucking head.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
no, stab Berman.
they play they're home for San Diego and then at Houston.
Yeah, I think, the question becomes, does San Diego suffer the 1 o'clock Eastern time jinx, or do they come from behind yet again?
Nah, that offense isn't built to do that, so I think they're okay.
I mean, we could be looking at a 3-0 Bills team going to Houston. That's
not going to happen. Remember, they go San Diego, Houston, Detroit, New England in their next 4.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That by then we'll know. But by the time the Patriots come to town, I think we'll have a better idea of what
they're at New England to start. No, they're home for New England. I take
they're
it
home for New England. I'm looking right at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's not like they finish against a tough schedule. Cleveland at Detroit, home for Green Bay, at Oakland, at New England. They got to be happy to be away for Christmas to Oakland. Maybe not.
Well, no. But, the interesting thing is they can't throw the ball, and they can't stop anybody for throwing it, but they can run the ball fairly well, and they can stop people from running it. So that's, I don't know how long, that may kill them against San Diego, but it'll sure as hell help them against Houston.
That's going to help hurt. Houston would turn down for what? No.
Yes.
Well, and being able to run the football is definitely helpful being in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
I would talk about Houston's 19th against the run and 24th against the pass, but yeah.
Good.
Well, that's just a team you're just like, oh my God, he's going to kill you.
No.
And speaking of Houston, RG3 is out for a while. And yeah, I know Houston played him early. So.
What kind of time frame are they talking about for his return?
It's not broken. It's only dislocated, which is rare.
Yeah,
so
but
they're talking 8 weeks.
I bet it's longer. I mean.
Well, then the question is, what do they do if Cousins is playing well?
Don't know. Their bye is in 8 weeks, and then they're home for Tampa Bay, and then their next games are at Philly, home for New York, home for Seattle, at Arizona, home for Tennessee, at Dallas, at Minnesota.
So they're
most of those, I'd say 4 wins there, maybe 3.
Well, I don't think they beat Philly, but I sure think they beat New York.
New York's a Thursday night game at home. That's always a rock fight.
Yeah.
And then they go to Seattle. There's a loss. Arizona at home, but a 4 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Then at the rock fighting Tennessee Titans. Home, I mean, for that game. Then at Dallas and at Minnie. Come off the bye, then they're home for Tampa Bay, and then at a San Francisco team that could be quitting on its coach by that point. They've already quit. At Indy, home for St. Louis. At New York, home for Philly, home for Dallas.
Wow.
So really, I could see him, if he's coming back this season at the earliest, Tampa Bay, at the latest, St. Louis.
Yeah. You know, my question is this: there's been a feeling that he's still not fully recovered from the big injury at the end of 2012. I think they need to take their time and let him get fully healed before he goes out and gets hurt again. If Cousins continues to play well, why risk it? You've invested a lot in this guy, and if he gets hurt one more time, there's a question as to whether he's ever going to be what you hoped he would.
I think they need to get him out there so that you shut up a lot of the criticism, man. Kirk Cousins is a better fit for this offense, but Griffin's a better quarterback. Griffin went down. He's completing 75% of his passes.
But is he going to be that he's really good when he's healthy?
Yeah.
That's one thing he's got. He knows how to play hurt. I mean, he did in college. And one thing I heard them constantly talking about is that the problem between Robert Griffin as a runner and somebody like Colin Kaepernick, Griffin is a little physically smaller in his bones, even though he may be the same size. He's just not built as big. But he's also a sprinter, a straight line runner, not a cutter, not a scrambler type.
Yes.
That's
why when he takes hits, they are more full force and not glancing blows.
But with this injury, he didn't even really get hit. He just turned his ankle.
Yeah. He just jumped, and as he was coming down, he just landed. I mean, it's like a guy who comes down on somebody's foot in basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look good for him, and I hate that because, I loved the way he played in college, and I was hopeful that he could really turn things around in Washington. On the other hand, Daniel Snyder's a prick, and he deserves whatever he gets. So,
True. Yeah.
But in some ways, it's like you create these because they saved the season. He saved the season the way he did. You created these unrealistic expectations for him that he might not ever be able to meet.
Well, that's a very real possibility. That is an absolute possibility.
Speaking of unrealistic expectations, let's move over to college. Were any of us surprised by the Big Ten shitting the bed last week? Honestly, Steve, were you?
Ever since Michigan State got the lead against Oregon and then it just completely dissolved, it's becoming more difficult to watch it when they're playing a team from a conference either in the South or the West. It is so clear that the talent base has evaporated in the Midwest. Even Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey and Michigan, they don't produce players nearly at the rate that they did. And it's hard to get younger players. It's hard to get players from the South because they don't want to play in colder weather. They don't want to have to attend class, but then again at Ohio State they don't have to. No, anyway, and it's a situation where I don't see the arrow going up. I see the arrow continuing to go down. But the fact that they're having trouble playing MAC teams, it's just horrible. It's sad to watch, and I'm somebody who grew up watching great Big Ten teams. And until about 1992, they could hold their own, but over the past 20 years, they've gotten to the point where they just simply can't stay on the field with a good team from the SEC, the Big 12, the Pac-10, and now maybe even the ACC. It's sad to watch, and it hurts me.
Well, and I think for me, I guess I started noticing it when Ohio State made 2 straight national championship games and didn't just lose but lost, just got annihilated 2 times in a row.
Yes. And well, go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say, and their overall record in the BCS games is not very good.
No. And to be perfectly honest, Urban Meyer was supposed to go down and start recruiting the South for Ohio State. How's that working? They go out and get beat at home by a Virginia Tech team that turns around and loses the next week at home to East Carolina from the AAC.
Hey, that's a legitimate team.
Well, it's a legitimate team in the AAC. May be a legitimate conference. They may be more legitimate at this point than the Big Ten, which makes me want to go down a bottle of bourbon in one gulp.
Obviously not good bourbon. I got a link for you guys. I want you to see it. I saw this today on SB Nation. 4-star recruit Drake Davis is not going to play college football.
Really?
4-star recruit out of Virginia. He's not going to play football. Instead, he's going to play soccer. He's 6'4", 215.
Oh my!
He's the number 10 wideout in his class.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
if he changes his mind, he can still do it because it's still a good 2 years away. So.
Well, he's obviously a young man who understands what the 3 little letters CTE mean, and if he is in fact good enough to play soccer and excel at it, he's of a size where if he gets the skills down and could go to Europe and play in one of the European leagues, well, good heavens, why wouldn't he? You can make as much money without the wear and tear on your body playing soccer. And at some point, and we're already starting to see it, you're going to start seeing parents have their kids stay in soccer rather than go play football. I mean, sure, Texas and the South will be the last diehards, but especially, Virginia, it's not like they have a really big football tradition. So,
hey Steve, look at this. Look at the kit that he's wearing. What team is that?
Wow. Okay, that's not you or City.
That's Cotter.
Oh, yeah, it's Qatar.
Who's Cotter?
I should know that. That's not Newcastle, is it? No.
No.
That's not Arsenal or Liverpool. I'm not sure. Is that Tottenham?
Let me see.
Okay, this is way too much soccer talk.
No, I mean, here's my point on this. I don't think it's Tottenham. Let me see. No, it's because of the television of the EPL being broadcast, and no, Tottenham is or is blue, by the way.
Ah.
I can't remember off the top of my head who it is, but it's just a case of now if you're seeing the people wearing the kit, the jerseys of English Premier League, that means it's taken hold over here. And you're going to see guys not thinking, I can make a shit ton of money, because they see the money for the transfer fees, and they see the money these guys are making overseas, and they go, okay, I can go make a couple of $100,000 to go play in Europe that's mostly tax-free.
You know what? Actually, I heard that it's a big boom in soccer was the improvement in the FIFA game.
Yes.
Yeah. And the kids play.
You mean the
people my age and younger,
sports and games like that?
Yeah, they love that game. I mean, FIFA 2000, all that. I mean, it's hugely popular. But I mean, they see those and they go, and then it's on TV and they say, "Oh, why should I can go here and play and get $300,000, $400,000? That's about what I would make and I can play for 6, 7, 8, 9 years over in Europe, and I can also play here and double dip." And not end up at the end of it with bad injuries other than maybe my ACL.
Yeah.
Well, and I was telling Steve the other day, I think that the long-term success of American football is in question because I just don't think it's ever going to be an international sport.
No, I agree.
I don't think it translates except as an oddity sport like us with Australian rules football or something. It's just the rest of the world just does not care about American style football for the most part.
No, it's like netball and what's the other one? Team handball.
Yeah. Which is something America doesn't get, but it's big in other places.
Yeah.
You know, I just look at this, and this is kind of like the canary in the coal mine for American football. If more players come out and eventually it starts costing the owners billions and billions to pay these players when they start claiming for their head injuries and CTEs, there's going to come a point where insurance companies will refuse to cover them. And when that happens, they're either going to have to go to almost touch rules or go 7-on-7. And everything that makes people want to watch it, the hard hitting, is going to have to go away. And when that does, American football will too. But in order, I think, for soccer to really catch on here the way it does in Europe, they're going to have to change their development of players, and it's going to have to look more like the way they do it in Europe. And we're already getting way too much into soccer. So
by the way, Steve, it's not the Premier League; it's FC Barcelona.
Oh, I knew I'd seen it somewhere.
Which doesn't surprise me as well. I mean,
No.
That's if you're not talking EPL, what is it? People pretty much know Real Madrid and Barca.
Yes, and Lionel Messi. Hello, I mean,
that's probably a Messi jersey.
I would think so. FC Barcelona is a worldwide brand.
Until I got rid of it, I had a Rooney jersey for the longest time.
Yes. Yeah. Just to annoy me.
Yes. Actually, I had it before I even knew you were. I think you may be starting to see the canary, as you were saying.
Could you see a point where the NBA could become more popular than the NFL?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think of the current sports that are popular in America. I don't think it's going to be baseball. Hockey is always going to have a niche kind of following. And I think it's going to be the NBA that's eventually going to overtake and be the number one sport.
I think football could get close to organized football is going to always do well, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot more 7-on-7. But basketball, you can pick up and play a lot easy. Just like that. I mean, it's just like soccer. I mean, you can pick up and play soccer without hardly anybody around.
Yep.
A few people.
And that does have an international appeal already.
Absolutely, it does.
And basketball does not have the same, as heavy-handed as Stern was. He helped prevent a lot of stuff. Him coming down as hard as he did meant you didn't really have the discipline issues.
Well, remember when he came in? He came in when drugs were killing the league.
Well,
He came
drugs
in at the perfect time. Well, cocaine.
And you notice we haven't had a cocaine suspension in how long?
Exactly.
And of course, the NBA, it's a joke, and so's they look the other way a lot. I mean, you know when your tests are. I mean, they basically you have those like with 6 randomized tests a year, but
Yeah.
if you have them in the first 2 months, you don't get tested again.
Mm.
Well, all I can say is when Stern came in, the NBA Finals were on tape delay. They were not even
Yes.
shown live.
No, they were live by the time he took over.
Well, in the late '70s, they were on tape delay.
Well,
Yeah.
the 80, I remember watching the 80 final game when Magic went nuts in Kareem's absence.
Yeah, that was still
And
Larry O'Brien. He didn't take
yes.
over until '83 when they were already starting to come back out.
And when you look, and another thing that has certainly helped is, EuroLeague has gotten very popular, and the fact that so many European players are now playing in the NBA. Hell, there are more European than American players on the world champion San Antonio Spurs. And there's a reason for that, because they play a more disciplined and controlled form of basketball. It's not slow, but it's not one-on-one. It's just brilliant passing and picks, and that's why. Yeah, and that's the sad irony. As basketball grows in around the world, the next question is, with a diminishing percentage of players going to the NBA from colleges, are colleges and high schools going to have to change the way they develop players? And what does this say about AAU, who's been developing a lot of these players who somehow wind up not getting to the NBA?
Yeah, there was a good article I saw about how actually you're about to see a dip for the next couple of years in European players, because basically their greatest generation of '98 to now have aged out. And what's the next generation going to do? I mean, we've talked about the Gasol brothers since what, '07, '06?
Yeah.
That's 8 years ago. And same thing for Turkey. Turkey's greatest teams are gone. Germany, Greece is pretty much the Greek freak, and nobody else really. France, I mean, they're starting to age up, and they're starting to train up the next generation. But it could be that the U.S. is okay until 2020.
Yeah.
Major competitions. But yeah,
That's true. Oh, speaking of that, the Sacramento Kings announced that in December they're going to retire Peja Stojakovic's jersey, which I thought was quite nice.
Yeah. But since we were talking about college football a second ago, let's move back over there.
Yes.
I'm not going to get sucked in by Memphis and Middle Tennessee, mostly because I'll be in Millington at a one of those fun runs.
Yeah, and I'm going to be at the Germantown Democratic Club picnic.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that, but I'd already paid the money to go. But
yeah.
Looking at the schedule for this week, you've got Miami and Nebraska at 8 o'clock on the Deuce. Virginia BYU could be a good rock fight. I'm not really seeing Utah Michigan.
Yeah. I have a feeling
Mississippi State LSU's only like a 6-7 point favorite last I saw.
Yeah, and Chris Vernon picks Mississippi State to go win straight up.
You've suspended for a half, Florida State versus Clemson.
What about that Auburn-Kansas State game?
Auburn's going to roll Kansas State.
Yes.
You're going to beat that old man like he stole something. He's going to fall and he can't get up.
But at least it'll be in a stadium that bears his name.
Eh? That just means he's old.
Yes, indeedy. Oh, Troy in Georgia. Bowling Green.
Speaking of old in Memphis, guess who's going to be announcing Jerry Lawler at Raw on Monday?
The aging wonder himself, the great Lance Russell, is he not?
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's about time. Lance Russell, to me, is as much a part of American wrestling history as Mean Gene Okerlund or Jim Ross. Okerlund. Well, all right. Whatever. Oh, wait. Florida's playing Alabama?
Yes.
Dear God, what's the over-under on that?
You know, I almost sent out a tweet right as it went to overtime last week going, well, nice knowing you, Will.
Yeah.
Alabama. 52, Alabama's a 2-touchdown favorite.
Pardon me. I don't think that's high enough.
No, I don't either. Alabama wins by at least 3 touchdowns. Just vicious.
Speaking of vicious, did y'all read him today?
What, Hayden Spurrier?
Hayden Spurrier, oh yeah. Did you read it off my link earlier? Because I was like, I was in full. I got to read today.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had Hayden Spurrier in 2 weeks.
Love me some Hayden Spurrier. That's one of the greatest things Spencer Hall ever came up with. Is Hayden Spurrier. That is just wonderful. I don't have it up.
I don't know. This is one of the greatest lines. Todd Graham gave $500K to Arizona State. Didn't even know they were married, much less getting divorced.
There's
another good one.
Oh, wait a minute. Utah State at Arkansas State. That's on ESPN3 at 6 o'clock.
Utah State. That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
Steve,
they both lost. Go ahead.
Do you have any thoughts on Vanderbilt almost losing to UMass last weekend?
Well,
other than it'll be a long season in Nashville?
Well, it was a combination of a lot of players graduated last year, and the good ones that were left went with Franklin to Penn State. Now Derek Mason's got to rebuild from the ground up, and it's going to take a while. And the fact that they're not winning is not going to help him with recruiting. Players do not want to go build a program. They want to go to a program that's already built. And who did the Commodores have this week? Just saw it. Are they off? I could be wrong.
Who?
Vanderbilt.
No,
I think they're off this week.
No, they're playing this week. They're playing South Carolina.
Oh.
Well.
I can hardly wait to hear what Hayden Spurrier says about that next week.
Talk about don't read too much into the first week. I mean, who would have predicted that South Carolina was going to beat Georgia?
It doesn't surprise me. To quote to quote the real Spurrier, you can always count on Georgia having a player or two suspended.
South Carolina is a 22-point favorite over Vandy.
And I don't think that's high enough.
No. Good.
But it's a 55-point over and under. So they're going to.
Oh dear heavens! Oh no! Oh no!
35-7. No, 38-14.
It's going to be idiots.
Trying to see what's the big 72 is the over under for Missouri Indiana with a 14-point spread.
Yikes!
See if anybody else has a higher over under.
65 for Northern Illinois and Arkansas.
Wow, who's favored?
Arkansas is
No, I'm joking. Louisville is 28-point favorite over FIU with a 48 over under.
No, I've got it. Georgia's a 41-point favorite over Troy with a 67 over and under.
Yo.
73.5 or 75. Okay, you get weird ones. 73.5 or 75 is your over under for Washington State, Oregon. The consensus spread is 24.
I don't think that's high enough.
No. They can play defense in Pullman.
Now, what's the spread on Mississippi State and LSU again?
LSU by 9.5 with a 49.5 point over and under.
Okay.
So that's a relatively low scoring game.
Mississippi State at the very least covers. They may win outright. I think LSU's overrated. There, I said it. It's my friends in Baton Rouge scream.
All right. Here comes. I'm going to end up on this game, and then I guess we're going to do closeouts because it's getting late for us.
Yes.
MTSU Memphis, 63 or 65.5 with Memphis is generally the consensus is about 12-point favorite.
That's not high enough. Tigers
They're
by
trying
21.
to suck me in. They're trying to suck us in.
Tigers won. They're for real.
I hope so. God, I hope so.
Everybody was hoping they would it'd be no worse than 2-4 by the middle. I think they're going to, by the first 6 games, I say they're going to be no worse than 4-2. And depending upon what happens Saturday night, it may actually give me hope for them to at least be competitive with Ole Miss the following week.
Well, here's the thing to remember. Ole Miss, most likely a loss. That's a better offense. I don't know. That's a 7-6. That's right now a 6:30 start on ESPN 3. That could turn into a 6 o'clock start on the Deuce.
No, what? Ole Miss, Memphis?
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Memphis is 6:30 on the SEC network.
Oh, so it's the 6:30. Okay.
That'll be 6:30 Central on the SEC network on the 27th.
The next week, Cincinnati. Gunnar Kiel looks pretty damn good. That's all I'm going to say.
That could be a tough game for the Tigers.
That'll probably be a loss. I'm going to say that'll be a loss. If they can
Is
come
that
out
here or there?
That's there.
Okay.
After they play MTSU here, they go on the road for their next 2 and 3 of their next 4.
Yes.
But after Cincinnati, they got Houston off a week at SMU. So there's 2 wins.
Yes.
So they could bounce back and be 3-3, or 4-3.
Yes.
And then Tulsa, Temple, Tulane, South Florida, and Connecticut. I've seen 8-4. I'd be happy with 7-5, 6-6.
7-5 would cause me to do cartwheels.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would just be awesome. So, is OU as good as we think they are, or are they just teasing us, only to collapse later in the year against Okie State?
Yeah, we all know my hatred for Oklahoma, so I'm not going to say anything.
There you go. Cool.
I'm just going to end. This is going to be my last thing on everything. Guess how many points Southern Miss is favored for over Appalachian State?
They're favored?
2.5.
Ooh, that can't be good.
No.
Isn't this App State's first year in FBS?
I believe so. And I will point out it's not being televised, except unless you can find a really shitty streaming site.
Well, I mean, and that just makes me want to cry. For so many years, Southern Mississippi was one of the truly great, underrated teams in the South. But ever since they dumped Jeff Bauer, they've they did all right with Larry Fedora. Don't get me wrong, that's how he got the North Carolina job. But man, oh man, they just can't suck up the throwaways from the SEC teams around them anymore. And it's just sad to watch.
Well, it seemed like they were never a great team, but they were a consistent 8-win team.
Yes.
They were consistently good. They weren't bad. Unlike Memphis, who was mediocre to bad in most of when they were in the same conference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, as a Tiger fan, I miss the Black and Blue Bowl. But, to be perfectly honest, it's just, that what Conference USA has become is terrible. It's a tarted up Sun Belt.
You know what? That's as good of a note to end on. Steve, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Well, as always, I can be found at my political blog, leftwingcracker.blogspot.com, on Twitter at leftwingcracker, and on Facebook or Google Plus, should you go that route, just plain old Steve Steffens.
Glenn?
Glenn Ring on Facebook, GlennR1031 on Twitter, and I also have a business, Farm, the number 2 cart. We sell locally sourced sausages. Come see me this Saturday at the Cooper Young Farmers Market, and I'm also going to be at the High Cotton Tap Room over on Monroe near Sun Studios and all that good stuff between Midtown and downtown.
In the Edge District.
Yep. All right. I'm John Carroll. You can find me on Facebook, JON_CARROLL on Twitter. John Carroll on Facebook. You can always find this podcast on Facebook. We are Sports Noise Podcast. We don't have Google Plus yet, but I will make sure I get that set up, and you can go to our YouTube page and watch the videos of us from now on. Up there, you can also find us in multiple locations. This is the first time we're trying this version out. I will leave the version on YouTube. Will have the full uncut version, including our pre-show, and that's it. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.
Peace, love, dope. Hare Krishna. Good night, everybody.